The president considering using his executive powers regarding the midterm election. Let's talk about it. Today, we're looking at the draft executive order on the elections that's circulating among 47 allies and what it could mean for the 2026 midterms. The president says he's not considering declaring a national emergency for the midterm elections, even though a 17-page draft order suggests exactly that kind of move. The draft order claims to address the election integrity and foreign interference, and it outlines the way the president could gain more direct control over parts of the election system. The document suggests that if national emergency is declared, the president could require hand counting of ballots and voter ID at the polls nationwide. It would also push more federal control over elections, which are normally run by the states under the U.S. Constitution. Legal experts say such an order will almost certainly be challenged in court and likely rule beyond the president's authority. Voting rights advocates argue there is no law that lets a president seize control of a state-run elections, even in an emergency. They say the proposal conflicts with the basic structure of how U.S. elections are run, where states handle the process and the federal role is limited. The draft also calls for every voter to re-register for the 2026 election through their county and to show proof of U.S. citizenship to stay on the rolls. It would require hand ballots that are hand-marked and then hand-counted in public, something many election experts warn is slower and more prone to human error than machine counting. Attorney Peter Tickton, a longtime associate of the president, confirmed the draft has been circulating among some of the president's supporters. He argued that if the president believes that there is foreign interference in U.S. elections, he can use the National Emergencies Act to take steps to see as necessary to secure the vote. During 47's first term, a national emergency was declared in 2018 over the risk of foreign powers interfering with U.S. elections, targeting critical infrastructure and election systems. That emergency was kept in place by President Joe Biden and used as a basis for sanctions against Russian and Iranian actors accused of trying to influence the U.S. politics. A White House official says staff regularly speaks with outside advocates who bring policy ideas, but stresses that any talk of what the president might announce remains speculation at this point. In March 2025, the president signed an executive order adding a proof of citizenship requirement to federal voter registration forms, a move that has triggered several ongoing lawsuits. On Capitol Hill, Republicans passed the Save America Act, which would require documentary proof of citizenship to register and impose stricter voter ID rules, though it faces tougher odds in the Senate. Earlier this month, the president wrote on Truth Social that there will be voter ID for the midterm elections, whether approved by Congress or not, and repeated his opposition to mail-in ballots except in limited cases like military service or serious illness. Some Democrats responded sharply to the news of the draft order. Colorado Secretary Jena Griswold called 47 one of the greatest threats to American elections and warned that using conspiracy claims to justify more control over election administration is not democratic. Earlier this week, the administration held a call with more than 100 election officials from across the country to discuss preparation and security for the November elections. Agencies including Election Assistance Commission, the Department of Homeland Security, the Justice Department, the U.S. Postal Service, and the FBI joined the conversation. On that call, Heather Honey, the Deputy Assistant Secretary for Election Integrity, promoted the use of the federal SAVE database to help check voter citizenship status. She also raised the idea of hand-counting ballots, a method many election officials and experts say is slower and more vulnerable to human error than using machines to tabulate results. Some officials raised concerns about the possibility of ICE agents being present at the polling locations. Honey told them that any suggestion of ICE would be at the polling places is disinformation. and that there are no plans to deploy ICE to voting sites for elections. When asked separately, the White House Press Secretary Carolyn Leavitt said she had not heard of any formal plans to place ICE outside of polling locations. For now, the draft executive order remains unofficial, and 47 says he's not currently planning to declare a national emergency around the 2026 midterms. The broader debate over election security, voter ID, and federal versus state control of election is likely to continue leading up to November. Do you think the president should ever be able to declare a national emergency or to change how U.S. elections are run? Or should that power always stay with the states no matter what? Share your thoughts. Let me know. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And thanks for watching. Stay safe.